Hey, welcome back. I'm joined once again with Blair Manton. You probably remember Blair from our last talk on bankruptcy. Blair is one of the partners of one of the largest trustees in bankruptcy, Sands and Associates. Welcome back, Blair. Thanks for joining me again.
Oh, thanks very much, Mark. My pleasure.
As you know, Blair, after our last video, I received a number of inquiries. And you know what? To be honest, I had to get back to you because I was amazed at what you did for one of my clients. Now, she was carrying a substantial amount of debt, about $20,000 to be exact, and I couldn't believe when she told me that you managed to negotiate it down by 70%. So tell me a little bit about that, because to me, that's phenomenal. I mean, to go from 20,000 down 70%, that's huge.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, Mark. That's just a really impactful thing that we were able to do for your client. What she did is called a consumer proposal, and it's one of the least known but most powerful ways that you can actually reduce your debt without having to go bankrupt. So what a consumer proposal is, it's an offer to your creditors. You say, you know, in your client's case, she owed them $20,000, and we ran the numbers. If she was going to eliminate that debt over 3 years, she'd be paying about $750 a month, and at the end of it, she would have paid about $6,000 in interest.
Wow.
Her monthly earnings were around $2,400 a month. So if you're, you know, $750 out of $2,400, and you've got to live and feed yourself and live in Vancouver, it's not very easy to do from a budget perspective.
For sure.
So we sat down and we worked out that what she actually could afford was about $150 a month. And we said, well, she can pay that for 3 years. And we put that to her creditors, and they vote by a simple majority. It's all a very legal process. And they voted to accept the proposal. So they accepted her payment of $150 per month for 36 months, which resulted in her actually paying less to clear the entire debt than she would have paid in interest over that 3-year period as well. So, you know, she was just incredibly happy. And the thing to note here is that she didn't have to go bankrupt. She came in to see us, and as with a lot of people I'm seeing these days, almost a majority, I'm able to help them avoid bankruptcy because they can do a consumer proposal.
Well, I can sure attest to the fact about how happy she was. I mean, when she phoned me, she was just so grateful, and I couldn't believe when she told me. So let me get this straight. She went from $20,000 in credit card debt down to $150 a month for 3 months, and it was eliminated.
For 36 months, yeah.
For 3 years. Yeah, 36 months.
And now you might ask yourself, well, why would the creditors ever accept this? And the reason is that when you're working with a trustee in bankruptcy, I can help you with really 2 options if you need to work with me. One is personal bankruptcy. And in general, the creditors aren't going to get a whole lot in personal bankruptcy. In her case, they were going to get far less than, you know, 150 times 36 months, because their bankruptcy would have lasted, you know, either 9 months or 21 months, depending, but they weren't going to get a whole lot of money back. So I was able to show them that scenario, and then I was able to show them the scenario where she's trying to make a good faith effort. We've looked at her budget. This is what she can afford to pay, and she wants to make a reasonable, honorable offer on her debts. So if you're a creditor and you're looking at it, you tend to be unemotional. You tend to say more dollars are better than worse dollars, and we want to help this person avoid bankruptcy as well. So it's really a win-win on all sides.
So they're cutting their losses. I mean, as opposed to a bankruptcy where they may walk away with nothing, at least they're getting some cents on the dollar.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
You know, it's amazing what a lack of information there is out there, because, I mean, to be honest, I didn't even know that you could do something like this. I know there were debt proposals, and I've seen the credit counseling. I know I've heard some really scary stories about credit counseling, and this is why, you know, I really wanted to get you on, because you guys, you know, you're licensed. This isn't credit counseling. This is absolute licensed, federally regulated. So, I mean, there's a huge difference. So, you know, I really encourage people who are watching this that there's a big difference. And so on that note, Blair, what's the best way for people to get a hold of you?
You know, the best way is either to visit us online, either at www.wehelpwithdebt.com, or to call our 310 number. It's 310-0911, no area code required. We've got the best office network in the Lower Mainland. We're up to 10 offices right now. When you meet with us, it's always free. It's always confidential. You'll sit across from a real person whose first job is going to be to listen to your situation. And then by our code of ethics, we're bound to give you the best advice for your situation. If it involves you not having to deal with us and, you know, you can solve problems on your own, that's fine. But for your client who was $20,000 in debt and earning $2,400 a month, she wasn't going to be able to solve those problems on her own. She had to sit down and work with us. And as you can attest, she was pretty happy to have done so.
No, and I thank you for that, Blair. Okay, well, I'm going to do the same thing, Blair. I'll put the website and the telephone number. And once again, I really appreciate you coming on and, you know, giving us this information.
Thank you. My pleasure, Mark.
Thanks, Blair.
Yep, see you later.